Good morning everyone, and welcome to Raina Mo's Designs. And today I'm going to be redoing a lantern design that I created and somehow footage was lost. So it's going to be a mixture of both footages. So if this sounds like a tutorial that would interest you, please keep watching. So this is the original lantern that I created, and it turned out so very cute. But the bling from the glitter, I wanted just a little bit more, so I wanted to do a second one. And when I went to do the video and edit for this one, I lost a lot of footage. So I'm gonna combine both videos, this one as well as the one that I created before for the footage that's left, and show you how I'm going to create my second version of this beautiful paper lantern that it's just so cute and so glam. So what you're gonna need is some type of vase or vessel or glass container that you enjoy the shape of. You're gonna need Mod Podge as well as a brush. You're going to need this vase filler. Now this I got from IKEA, but I know that you can find it at Michael's. If I can put a link down below, I will. I try to always link the material that I use, but if you can find it somewhere else at a better price, absolutely go and get it there at that other place. But if I can find it, I try to list it down below. I bought these heart doilies because I just think that they're so cute, and it definitely fits my mother's wedding profile, which is the reason why I came up with this design. But you can also use these doilies here in the variety pack if you can find them at Dollar Tree, or even this one, which you can find at Dollar Tree. And I actually used this size originally in the first design, because when I created it, it was back in November. So I'm gonna set all of these things aside and go on to the next part.
So here I'm starting with a big bowl of water, and all I'm going to do is add a few drops of food coloring and mix them together to see exactly what color profile I'm looking for. So if you're not very familiar with color theory, this can kind of help. My best advice is to add 1 to 2 drops of food coloring until you get the specific hue that you're looking for. If they do not have the food coloring of the exact color that you're wanting, then you have to mix. And this is where you make sure that you add a drop or 2 of each color to combine to create the correct color hue that you're looking for. And for me, I'm looking for a very light pink that has a little bit of a magenta hue. So this is what you see. I'm just adding a drop or 2 of blue to the red, and it's creating a purpley magenta color. You can add more colors or different colors to come up with different color hues. So this is just my example of showing you how to get different colors when you're mixing. Okay, so here I'm starting with a very large bowl of water to actually mix up the dye that I'm going to be using for my doilies. Now I'm going to begin with red, and after I add red, I'm going to add a little bit of green, and it's going to look a little weird, but trust me, you have to build depth in with the dye that you're creating, because there's no specific recipe, and that's the reason why I say start with 1 to 2 drops. After I add the green in, I'll be adding in a little yellow to help tone down the harshness that the green adds, and then I will add more red to help kick up the magenta hue that I am going for. And that was my recipe for the shade that I desired for this particular project.
And
and now I hope you can see what I was talking about when I talked about the depth of a hue. The next step is to actually add the doilies, and I find it best if you take the doilies and try and separate them individually into 1 by 1, but no more than 2 by 2, because you don't want them terribly thick. And you just add them into the dyed water and allow it to soak up the dye, and then once it's done, you have an option of laying them on a baking sheet and baking them at a very low temperature if you have the time to actually sit and watch them. Or you can do like me and just set them on cookie racks and let them dry overnight.
Once you've already prepped your doilies, this is what they come out looking like, and this is a very, very light shade of pink. Now you guys, looking at it through the camera, it probably looks like it's just white, but these are the original doilies, so you can see the color differentiation, that this is stark white and this has a nice pink hue. And one of the beautiful things about using Mod Podge, it seems like it really brought out that color of the doily, and it's amazing what you can do with a little food coloring, right? You just have to think about what it is that you want. Now, this is the pink doilies that I just recently got at Dollar Tree, but I think I really like the way these turned out, so I'm going to end up using these again on my second lantern. But I just really want to give you guys variety and ideas of what it is that you can use. I also found these doilies, and I found these a while back that are gold, and I've also found silver ones, but I've misplaced them, and I believe these came from King Dollar. But you can see it's the exact same motif as the ones that you can find at Dollar Tree. So check your other dollar stores and 99-cent stores and see if you can find something like this, because this one also matches my mother's color motif for their wedding. And I have to stop calling it a wedding, because they're going to be married 50 years in 2019. And she just wants to have a big party. She doesn't want it to be a traditional wedding. I'm still working on her about that though, guys. So anyway, I'm gonna see how this turns out a little bit later, maybe in my 3.0 version. So I'm just gonna put that back here, and we're gonna move on to the actual craft. I'm going to take my vessel and turn it upside down, because I feel like it works better for me that way. I also wanted to let you guys know and show you this. I don't know if you can remember the stamp punch that I used, but here it is. And you can make, if you decide to use a taller vessel like the 7-inch or the 9-inch cylinder glasses, you can use the doilies like this to make tall paper lanterns as well. And instead of having just a simple, flat doily covering the front, you can go ahead and you can punch out different designs and what have you, and make it a beautiful lantern effect. Now, I could definitely do that with this one, but the decoration and the punch here would just be wasted, so I'm not going to. But when I make some that are cylinders, you'll see what I do with the doilies that I've done this to. So you differentiate the back from the front of your doily. You have this beautiful embossing of an actual rose, and I want that embossing to show. So I'm making sure that I put the wrong side down, and you want to make sure that you center it. So you want to go ahead and kind of mold the doily around your vessel, and how you mold it will depend a lot on the shape of the vessel that you use. If you use a cylinder vessel, then it's going to be a much smoother shape. But I am using one that has more curves because it's very feminine to me. So as I'm molding it with both my hands, I can see, and I hope you can see, that this side is a bit lower than the other side. So I want to just adjust it a little bit because I want to try and make it as even as possible. And then all I'm going to do is add a rubber band to the bottom of it to hold it in place while I turn it upside down and start applying my Mod Podge. Okay, so here you can see that, doesn't that look like a beautiful little tulip skirt? Just wait until we finish Mod Podging it. So that's where I've placed my rubber band. I've double checked the placement to make sure that I've gotten it as even as I possibly can. And we're just going to go ahead and start Mod Podging. And you really want to soak the paper to make sure that it gets through and adheres to the glass. Once you've done that, you can remove the rubber band because it's not going to move on you as much. But the doily is very stiff because, you know, it had to go through the whole process of being dyed and then dried. So I'm just going to continue this, and we're going to time lapse through some of it, but not all of it. And when we come back, I'll show you the next step.
So now on to my absolute favorite part, and that is decorating and blinging it out. And for this, again, you're going to need your sponge brush with Mod Podge, the vase filler that I've purchased from IKEA quite a while back, and my dried luminary and some type of container to catch the fallout. So basically, we'll be time lapsing through this so that you guys can see the process, but also you've seen me use this technique before, as well as Elegance on a Budget. She uses this technique a lot, and everything is always so beautiful. So you just go ahead and put Mod Podge on your vessel. Then you're going to take your filler and you're going to start applying it to the vessel. Now for me, I find if you add the vase filler in smaller sections and just kind of pile it on, and remember it's glass, so there's a possibility that you could get cut, so be very careful. You might even want to work with gloves with this, but as I'm doing, I'm just shaking it on there, piling it on there, and leaving it so that the Mod Podge can adhere to it and it can stay affixed to the vessel without me having to touch it very much. And I'm just going to continue this exact same process until I have the vessel completely covered. So besides bling, you know I love adding embellishments. So here's just some rose buttons that I found at King Dollar that I'm going to use a little bit of Dollar Tree ribbon to wrap around the circumference of the vessel. And then I'm going to add that beautiful little rose button. And then after that, she will finally be complete. And I can't wait to show you how well she lights up with these simple emergency candles from the Dollar Tree. Absolutely just gorgeous. I love this DIY project and I hope that you guys enjoyed it too. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Leave us comments down below or any suggestions that you may have. But most importantly, have an absolutely wonderful evening. Bye.